The story from ZDNet out of South Korea concerning Facebook. Facebook has been fined for sharing user data without consent by the government of South Korea. Geez, surprise there that Facebook would get in trouble for that stuff. So, according to this article, Facebook shared personal information of approximately 3.3 million users without their consent. And that's that's allegedly according to. So Facebook was fined about 6.7 billion won. Now that's approximately $6 million in South Korea for sharing user data without their consent. Now the Personal Information Protection Commission, I'm sure that's the South Korea's organization, I guess, said the U.S. company shared data of at least 3.3 out of the 18 million users in Korea to other companies without the consent between May of 2012 and 2018. They also said that they're going to file a criminal complaint against Facebook for breaking local personal information laws. Good. Information shared by Facebook included names, academic history, job history, hometown, and relationship status. 2 words. Yeah, that's towards Facebook, by the way. When users, so what happens? It seems like here that when users log into other third-party apps using their Facebook accounts, their information of those other friends were shared with the services they were using. The PIPC said, and the friends weren't aware that their information was being shared with those servers without their permission. So it's. Yeah, this is where they're just creepy. This is bad. Because, for example, let's say I'm on Facebook only because I talk to family, and if something happened I didn't need to talk to anybody, I would get rid of Facebook. And the partner wants to get rid of it. Probably eventually will. Maybe, I don't know. What they're pretty much saying is, and I'll read this verbatim here. Because it's in quotations, and this is what the commission said. Okay, this is in quotations. A user agreed to share their information with a particular service when they logged in with their Facebook accounts. However, the user's friends didn't, and they were unaware that their data were also being shared. So, in addition, further on the article, what they said, the third-party apps then use the data provided by Facebook without the user's permission to make customized advertisements to display the social media service. Facebook ultimately made unfair profits by sharing the user data without their consent, according to the PIPC. Facebook also stored user password data without encryption. Oops! You don't do that! Big no-no. That's supposed to be encrypted, and didn't regularly find out if a user or company accessed their data. In addition to that, Facebook turned in false or incomplete. False documentation? Yeah, that's not a violation of the law in any country that I know of. I'm sure that's not a violation of the law here in the United States. I wonder if it's a violation. It is a violation of the law here in the United States, come to think of it. I'm sure it's a violation of the law in most other countries. Incomplete documents during the investigation. Here's fake this may determine the precise scope of the company's violations difficult and hampered their investigations. You think? If Facebook was fined an additional 66 million won for these obstructions. I think it's, from what I'm gathering, maybe it's 1,000 won to the dollar or 100 won. And I don't know what their exchange rate is. I'm not going to look it up. I don't care. It's not important. But Facebook said it cooperated with. Yeah. While criminal complaint filed by the commission was regrettable. And it will respond after fully reviewing the commission's decision. The investigation against Facebook started in 2018 by the Korean Communication Commission and the country's telecommunication regulator in the wake of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The regulator handed the case to the PIPC, and that's pretty much it. Facebook has done some really shady stuff. So one of the problems that people have is like, I'm not on Facebook. You shouldn't be tracking me. I'm not your customer. Leave me the F alone. And these people have a point. Go, and there's also, like, the United States, we do need some better, it's driving me nuts on this one. Oh, there it goes. What's really driving me crazy about Facebook is Facebook does some really dishonest and shady stuff. Like when I'm on Facebook, if Facebook sends me out on Facebook, I click on it and I'll buy something they get credit for, that's fine. That's how I started using Dollar Shave Club, because of Facebook ad. And like, okay, there's a couple things I've gone through Facebook ads and gotten stuff because of Facebook. Okay? And some of the stuff was like, oh, I never thought of that. I'm like, they had, I knew a teacher, and I got her a teacher's t-shirt from Facebook, through a Facebook ad, which is kind of cool. I went to Dollar Shave Club because that's fine. But if let's say I don't have an account with Facebook, let's say I just don't like Zuckerberg, which actually I don't, and I'm not on Facebook, or I've never been on Facebook. Facebook should not be tracking me. I should not be anywhere on their radar. They can go to hell. Would be my response. And I do think that there is going to have to be something. I know that other countries have, like Europe, as I do complain a lot about European laws. Not on the website, like a lot of their free speech laws and their gun laws, stuff like that. But I do not bitch about their privacy laws. I think their privacy laws are a lot better than what we have here in the United States. And I think we need to take a look at their laws and implement some of them here, as long as they're not within violation of our Constitution, stuff like that, of course. But I think we can do that going, no, you can't do that. And I do kind of like the right to be forgotten. And it's not as bad as it says. It's more of the right to be not forgotten, per se, but the right to, like when you leave a site, that they delete all your primary information about you. Like, hey, if I leave Facebook, then Facebook has to delete all my data on me because I'm no longer with them, I'm no longer their customer, and they can kiss my butt. Stuff like that. So I do like the right to be forgotten law if it's implemented in a proper way. I also like the fact that they have very strong, in Europe, they have some very strong privacy laws to stop these companies from doing the crap they get away with here. And like I said, I'm the one that likes to go, there ought to be a law. Because usually there ought to be a law, it usually comes up with something bad. But something like Facebook, we really need to look at least, if not changing the laws, actually enforcing the laws we have if we're not enforcing them. So good on South Korea, but I think the fine isn't high enough, but I think it's enough to let people know that South Korea isn't going to put up with their crap. So good on your South Korea, and screw you, Facebook. You guys are horrible.